So I'm here to talk about HTML5 games, but I'm not a game developer. I'm a front-end developer. I've been wondering about the startups in London for the last years. And, I've been fed up with solving problems. Sometimes I'd like to use my creativity just for something fun. So I developed a game for this presentation, but actually I want to ask you a question first. How many of you have developed or developed games in their daily jobs? Hands up? I can't see anything. That's right. Okay, how many of you develop games or develop games in the spare time? All right, nice. How many of you are just into games or are hardcore gamers? Cool. It's pretty much the same. Where I'm going with this is I want to talk about making games in the spare time as a great form of expression, because I find that pretty much anyone is into games. And what got a lot of people close to development in the first place and coding was trying to make a game in very early stage. So then they maybe failed or didn't have the skills or the resources to develop it, and they kept coding, they got into different fields, specialized, got a job, and forgot about it. And what is awesome about the web now is such a spread environment, and not many people realize it, but I shouldn't have switched to this. Okay. Pretty much anyone that was fed up with it then have the tools now to do it with their tech stack. Even people that don't really want to get into all the game development field, that is quite a different approach to coding. So this is a bit of a URL to check out. I just thought of putting it here and not presenting it yet, but it might be a bit slow loading. So, okay. So what I think made me a developer in the first place is the fact that I can stand anything for 2 minutes without wanting to build one or know what's happening on the other side. And that's why there's something like games that we love so much in our spare time. Instead of building a utility or something that solves a problem, sometimes we might want to use our art to actually express ourselves and do something that uses our skills. So why games? It's fun approaching to coding. What I find relieving in making games in my spare time, or just try to do games sometimes, is I just hack it up. I have the chance of experimenting with anything and write pretty much the most horrible code ever. And I'm going to know what works and what doesn't. I don't have the chance of doing that on my daily job. So, for example, the game I'm going to show you is made with DOM, actually, which it's quite a wrong solution. But I quite loved it. It was fast development, and it was fun, and it performs on my iPhone 3GS. So games use a wide spectrum of media, pretty much anything you can do, from audio, illustration, design, UX especially. That's a skill, is it? You can pretty much put it all in a game, and it can represent you all around. It's a good form of expression, as I was explaining before, because of these reasons, and I quite like to set up a little system that behaves the way I want to set up my own physics. It's just a nice game for me to make games. All right then, but why HTML5? Well, I'm talking about making games as a web developer, not as a game developer, as I was mentioning. So we want to talk about using JavaScript, and you use the skills you already have. You go really fast when you develop with these tools. It's much faster than writing in a lower level language, and it's cross-platform. I don't have to stay here and explain you the advantages of HTML5. So yeah, Flick Blaster. Some of you might have opened it on the mobile laptop already, but that's the link. The name is one of those 5 seconds decisions when you have to create a repo and you don't know what to name it. I could have thought it through. All right, so this is pretty much the game. It's very simple. It's pretty much as simple as I could make it. You got a little red disk that you have to flick inside these targets or whatever. And it starts very simple, then it implements buttons, lasers, and stuff. And pretty much anything here is a DOM object, a DOM element, other than the drag and drop little line is rendered with canvas, so I render just a little square just when it's needed. And SVG is rendered for the it used to render the walls and all the geometrical shape, the lasers and stuff. So they get rendered once and just update once in a while. So the reason why I'm using DOM, for example, is I got a lot of idle objects on my screen, and it's easy to render sprites. I set it up in 5 minutes, and it works. And I can use CSS transition and 3D translations to access hardware-accelerated graphics on iOS, which is something that, even something just like this, if I want to move one object and then I have to, or two objects, or some at a time, and I optimize it with Canvas, it's going to be a mental amount of work to make it actually perform as well, even though it's a much better approach to it. Also, it was made at night, mostly. Okay, so demo done. So my plan was to build a minimal, simple browser and mobile physics-based puzzle game, which is what you've seen, and the ingredients were CoffeeScript, because again, I think I'm going to split the room on this one because CoffeeScript is a bit of a topic, but I really like it. It allows me to go fast, and it's a side project and a personal thing. So DOM and SVG. Cordova, which is the mobile distribution of Apache that PhoneGap is based on, to wrap it up as a native app. I didn't actually publish the app on App Store or Google Play. In the first place, the App Store asked for a license that costs 90 quid, and that's like a lot of pizzas. But it's open source, so anyone that 19 pizzas are like a lot of games developed. But anyone can pretty much take the source code, do something with it, and then publish it, and I'm just going to be glad with it. Then a super simple LXJS server for the browser gaming. Game loop based on request animation frame that allows you to attach callbacks to every viable iteration of the browser rendering loop, if I'm right, in order to squeeze out the performance and not slow down if you're stressing the browser too much. Box2D Web, which is a port of Box2D from ActionScript 3, running the physics. There's actually a few ports there, but yeah, I might get on physics later. Transit.js to move stuff around because it allows me to handle CSS transitions via JavaScript very simply. It's a jQuery-based library. A level editor that I might show it at some point, but yeah, actually. Yeah, that pretty much allows me to have fun with it and just focus on the design of the level. So it's a drag-and-drop interface. It's so hacked together that I didn't put it on the repo. You might ask me about it, but this is not in the open source bit. And everything in the game logic is coming from, not in the game logic, all these sprites, bodies, and definition of the entity presets are defined in JSON. So that's edited by the editor, and it's pretty easy for me to handle it. The result, as you've seen, a futuristic mini golf type thing wrapped up with PhoneGap also running in the browser. So I was quite happy with that. So that was my personal experience. And what I want to say really is, even though it's sucked up together and it uses a lot of run technologies, I'm actually rendering SVG using handlebar templates, precompiled. That was pretty much the hackiest stuff I could possibly do, and I quite like to unleash my creativity on these horrible things. Also releases a bit of frustration from our daily job. All I'm saying is, whatever skills you got, if you come from back and front and the illustration, whatever you do, I'd like to try to convince you to go home and do something that is just fun for yourself after a hard day of solving problems, because we don't do enough of that, I think. So before you go, the web was never meant for this. It's a document exchange protocol originally, and obviously there's great ways to do anything, but we're still pioneering in this field. Performance is not your friend. No need to explain that one. It's just never going to be, or maybe it is, but not quite yet. And you might want to give Unity a shot, because if your scope is to reuse your JavaScript knowledge to quickly go and use your skill set on a game, remember that on Unity you can write either C# or JavaScript or some sort of JavaScript. So it's a great tool, it's free, and it's very powerful and cross-platform as well. So you got different weapons, and in terms of rendering, that is the hard part in games, because it is. We got Canvas, WebGL, and DOM, and everyone pretty much picks one. And game engines obviously have to handle so many use cases and occasions that are all going to be written using one rendering engine, it being Canvas, WebGL. But obviously, what I love about the web is this ecosystem in which so many tools live together to do different things. And one of the things that, for example, game developers I talked to struggle with is they don't have great tools for creating UI. And what we're doing in web when we create our game framework is we port tools to create bitmap fonts and resizable sprites instead of using CSS for the game UI. So, try to use this tool in synergy and actually exploit the potential of the web, even hacking it up. But make this thing live together. Mix them up. Yeah. Enemies. And this is coming from a few of the fuck-ups I've done in these and previous ones. Premature optimization. You don't know where it's going to break. Don't try to fix it. It's probably going to break in the most unpredictable place. And it's pointless to optimize if you actually don't know what sort of costing performance. If you don't see it on screen, it's not a problem. Overcommitment. I don't know how many people here watch the indie game, but a game can drive you nuts. So keep it simple, small. Tech obsession. The end result has nothing to do with the tech you choose. What you want to do is really have fun. So try to tell a story, say something about yourself, and that's pretty much it. What's at the other hand is just there for your pleasure, so do it what you want. Think small, because whatever big project you have been having in your closet for 12 years is not going to be your first project, or you're not going to accomplish it probably. So just start with something that is as simple as you can possibly think it, and you're going to have enough troubles anyway. Physics. Well, this is a problem that a lot of people solved in the past, so there's very small reason to really be reinventing the wheel, but in some terms it's very performance expensive to compute physics, and so some people actually ported pretty much every library at Darbox to D, Bullet in different automated ports or less automated ports. But also we got a lot of people contributing with the JavaScript native libraries on the browser, which is great. So Canon.js is inspired by Bullet, but is developed on JavaScript. LXJS is another example. It's pretty new. On the GitHub repo that I'm showing you later, because I didn't want to stay here and listen and list the resources because I'm not Stack Overflow. I got a repo set up with a list of tools that I stumbled upon, or I tried, or I want to try, frameworks and stuff. So whoever here hasn't done a game and wants to get started can check out. Wrapping it up, use your own tools, your own space. It's your free time. Someone think about that. And tell a story. Those are the parts that I just found exciting about my experience. And, at the end of the day, the code took me a certain amount of time. Commenting the code, pretty much double. Cleaning it up, more. But then what I really enjoyed doing was designing the level and spending time on it, and I didn't expect it. And that's because it was something that I created that I wanted to play. Code fast and learn fast. You have the chance of, as I said earlier, exploiting every hack that you thought and is hidden in any dark bit of your mind. And, in your daily job, you just go like, no, that's not happening. Here, you can pretty much try anything. It's your playground, and, go nuts with it. And maybe you're going to take back some things that you didn't think you would learn. build something you would play. Again, it's for your own enjoyment. I covered this point already. So in terms of resources, I got a repo on that contains the slide, and as I said, a list of resources. That's the link for it. And I got the open source, the repo for the game that is not added to the App Store yet. So yeah, pretty much anyone can go customize it and do whatever you want with it, or just play and get 3 stars, please, in every level. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Wrapping it up. Cheers.